Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 cara.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michele Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. Hi, and welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michele Jones, and I'm here with
Scott Collins. What's up?
Hey, Scott A. Collins. Thank you, bro, for being here. We are, I believe, I mean, without Noah, you and I are doing an excellent job, but I'm not really sure numerically of the episodic number. So we're going to guess that we're at 50.
Sounds good.
50 maybe? So
Yeah.
let's go with it. Let's go with it. And here we are. And this is like kind of being in touch with our light in Libra season, which to me was a real surprise. I would have thought, bro, that okay, so before I get into all of that with everybody, the salient listener question is, what are you doing to increase your own internal light within you? Just like that little song, like that little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Like, I'm just kind of wondering, and this was a surprise message for me, right? Because I was down in Costa Rica, as you know, Scott, and I was going there because for me, 8 degrees north, which, you know, we're all about the 8 degrees, bro, you and I, that Capricorn influence degree. And it sits at 8 degrees north of the equator. And for me, the equator is like, it's my jam. You know, there's 12 hours of daylight. There's 12 hours of darkness. Like, it really fulfills the weather. It ranges like about 15 degrees variation. You know, it's like all
Very Libra.
It's so Libra. Like all of the extremes, like you have seasons that are very defined that don't really combine. Like it does not rain when it's sunny during dry season, you know? So what I was really, and I think I said this to you, Scott, before I left, like, I don't care if it's rainy season or the green season, as people in Costa Rica call it. Like, I have to go. I had to go because I had to finish some cleanup from my own health stuff with my teeth. And I had to really make that pilgrimage. And so what I was so surprised by is that there was sunshine every day. It only rained in the early evening into the night. And I had so much light hit my body in a good way. Like, we're coming out of summertime, right, bro? Like, you know, like you're an outdoor person. Like, we get a lot of light.
Yeah.
But this whole thing in Libra season, that our own personal development of who we're becoming is really all about our homo luminous, our light bodies, and the physical amount of light that, at least me, I'm just going to speak for myself. The physical amounts of light that I need, Scott, it shocks me a little bit because I thought I was getting awesome amounts of light here in Nashville and other places, the desert, you know what I mean? Like going out to the coasts. However, pardon me, what is it called? Equatorial? I guess it's equatorial light right? Light on the
Yeah.
equator.
Yeah.
Completely different. So I'll make you laugh. My grandpa used to say, because they lived in South Florida, okay? And so, like, we would come out there, like, be with them, and he would just be like, make sure that you have on like sleeves or like that you have on your sunscreen because it's a different sun here.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cute. And we used to just be like, as kids, be like, Grandpa, there's only one sun. It was like just really this sweet reminder of like, because I was like, oh, this is a different sun, like the light. And so, like, I just wanted to ask you, bro, what you're getting in about like light and Libra season and bringing our balance and like opening up like our hearts to who we are as light bodies. Not giving it out, it's receiving
Yeah.
who our light body really is.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head with the receiving part. That's very important right now in Libra. But I constantly get in the duality of the word light, the luminous part,
Yes.
illuminating part, but also the
Mhm.
weight or gravity part, especially.
Yes, sir.
And we've talked about before, but when we examine that ancient Egyptian tale of the scales of Libra, which is the way your way to ascension is if your heart on the scales of Libra, the literal scales of Libra,
Yes.
judged by Mott, or if the heart is lighter than a feather, and then you've hit that ascension rung, and that goes synonymous to me with an inside out illumination must be happening whenever you've achieved that lightness of being, both from a weight perspective, gravitational perspective, and an illumination perspective, in which our DNA and crystalline structure have then started being activated and achieving activated light codes. And we glow differently. We do. Our auras, our energy, everything does emanate and glow differently.
Completely. And, I feel like this is so folks are talking about the solstice, the Capricorn solstice, right?
Mm.
And that I was listening to a woman, Kelly Kolodny. She channels the Archangel Raphael. And Kelly was talking, well, Raphael was speaking through Kelly, discussing that at the Capricorn solstice, we have to be in the most light that we can possibly be in physically.
Right. Well, it is physically, yeah. And this year, probably for many other reasons, a heavier weight of importance for that. But, it is the day with the least amount of equatorial or any type of light of the year.
That's right.
So that for sure. But definitely gotten in that since this last solar eclipse that happened at 29 Virgo, and then the equinox, that it does feel like a bit of a we've talked about this in text, where I feel like there is a calibration that the planets are doing with us, not unlike a tuning fork that's happening to Earth right now, as the outer planets are really taking their last little, dipping their toes back into the previous planets that they were, or the previous signs they were in a retrograde fashion, before fully going into their next era in their respective signs. Mainly right now, as I'm thinking about our Saturn and Neptune dipping back into Pisces one last time. And I feel like the way that's affecting us is Saturn is affecting us on an individual level, how we are traversing that experience. And then Neptune only dipping back into 29, the indirect degree, is then assessing the collective from our individual experiences with Saturn. And then that is how the future projection is going to be for us, where basically whether the next era is going to be 5D or beyond. Like there's a lot of talk about the 5D, and you and I've talked about the epiphany that's a limiting belief. That's kind of limiting to think that that's where it is. Like that's like the bare minimum possibility, actually, depending on the individual work we do between now and the solstice, I think. And the solstice is a big turning point because it is early next year during that period after the solstice when all the planets will be moving, Saturn and Neptune finally moving out of Pisces and fully into Aries, almost in harmony as they do that, like almost synonymous. And then with Pluto and Uranus being in air signs, being in Aquarius and Gemini, that's going to be fanning the flames of the Aries fire and the others. So those are going to be moving like in an expansive, rapid way. And, Pluto is going to clean house where it needs to, but it's also going to embrace the sovereignty and individual in all of us as well. So,
And
that's
also,
that. I think that tracked
Capricorn.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Neptune goes into Aries.
Yeah.
So I think that
Saturn
the
and Neptune.
spirituality that's going to come to that fire is more a fire of refinement, kind of like making diamonds out of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's going to feel like a different Aries.
I love that, diamonds, because you could apply that, symbolism of air, pressure, like the pressure, like, so the Gemini and Aquarius energy of Pluto and Uranus could be creating pressure to create possible diamonds how we all navigate these final, the final loop, the victory lap of Pisces. And I'm sure every listener, if you're even listening to this, there's something going on in your life that is a like final revisitation of something that you're needing to, resurrect or reinvent or
just dot your I's and cross the T's so you can put it to bed and feel
maybe
like
just witness it now. Maybe the time we finally just witness it with neutrality and don't engage in it.
That's an option as well, my friend, right?
Yeah.
Because we know that whatever we resist will persist.
Yeah.
And resistance right now is very interesting because I have been told like not to push myself. Like, and I didn't know what that meant. Like that was one of the messages that I received. And it was about creating flow versus the resistance, right? And then the reflection of my own light from within me with my own water within me, with my own light codes that are reflecting, right? Within me. It's all within that this process has to flow forward because any resistance, it's just going to make it a little bit harder right now, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think that's a really insightful and valuable download, especially in Libra season, is not to push. You're right. It is in order to receive, we need to let go and allow our illumination or light, or using gravity in a positive sense, our gravitational pull, where the sun has gravity. So if we are our own sun beaming from the inside luminously, then we will have the gravity to attract what we need to attract. The old thing, you can't chase butterflies, you have to like attract them energetically somehow.
No.
So like, especially in Libra season, I think that's a pretty killer download, because the more we push now, the gravity will repel. The magnetic system will be reversed as opposed to it be attracting.
Yeah. No, and I had this aha, bro, and I wanted to share this with listeners because, Scott, you're very adept at astrology, and I tend to be, as we've discussed, just more like psychic and intuitive about stuff. And I love it, but like you love it differently, right? Because I'm just called to bring something else within myself forward. So I took my little one pager, like from Tom, like with my
Yeah.
notes and stuff with
Right
me.
on.
And so like I took it with me to Costa Rica and I've been looking like, so I've been seeing Tom Parsons, who's an astrologer here in Middle Tennessee for like, I don't know, 5 or 6, maybe 5 years, 6 years, maybe even a little bit longer. I'm terrible retrospectively. And so I've been looking at like my chart and stuff, right? Like Scott and I talk about the step system with you guys. That's Christopher Witecki's, astrological kind of decoding of the degrees in our chart. And I just took my one pager and I promise you, bro, I never realized how much Libra energy I have in my chart from the degrees.
Yeah. A lot of 6s.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's interesting because Saturn and Neptune that you were talking about, right? Because obviously the big outer planets are shifting.
Yeah.
They both sit at 24 for me, right? And so I just thought
Yeah.
that was like a really interesting, as well as my midheaven in Aquarius sits at 15,
Yeah.
which is like another 6. I've never seen that before. Like that.
Yeah, that's a lot. So you have Libra energy flowing into a lot of those planetary bodies for you.
The big outer ones,
Yeah.
apparently, right?
Yeah.
And so like I just thought to myself, it's a very interesting,
Libra moon too, so like you feel your way through that. So yeah.
and when it was like realizing that the stellium that I have in Cancer, the stellium that I have in Virgo, and then I was like, and this is like an astrological question. Can you look at the step numbers, Scott, as like a net, as a stellium? Like if you have a trio in a certain sign, that's like I discovered my chart was more 6y than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Does that constitute something that with a degree would be akin to a stellium?
I didn't found the step system, but
Right.
like what I
No, I just want what you think about.
my intuition is that yes, it's a different form of stellium. Like if you have tons, I mean, you have a stellium in 6s, and you have a 6y stellium. Yeah, that's the way I would describe that. Is that you have tons of Libra energy flowing through all these other things.
So for listeners out there to look at your charts from this place of your degrees, your position, so to speak, right? And to look at those and what they net to and what they are, it might be a really interesting way to examine some influences within our celestial snowflake.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I think that's a really insightful way to do it. And that is valuable because then you can, especially like those, because basically, if you have that influence, it's a master number of that sign, right? I mean, 6 is the master number of Libra. So I think the application of that, so for you, if it's 24, 2 to 4, like feeling where you belong would be the valuable thing to you for you to like navigate all the 6y energy you have in your chart, any of those placements. And then like as you're looking at where those things sit now on the daily chart now, that's how you would be able to apply it to your day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just really showed me that it's so cool how you can see something differently with new eyes. That's something that you've looked at so many times before, but something within you changed. And
Yeah, totally. Right. And sometimes it gives you like, oh, that is right. That is how I am. Or that is, yeah, that is how I am. However whatever tone you put on that.
right.
It's funny. I had an epiphany about my, I don't have as much 6E energy, but I have 3 Libra replacements.
Yes.
And one is a 6 and the other 2 are net 9s, which are also but they're in Libra. And that's the Aries number, which
Compliment.
the step system out there. Like if you have a opposite signs number in that sign, it's also a master number too. So like so all 3 of my numerical step system numbers in Libra are master numbers. And I don't know why that just occurred to me recently. This Libra season,
interesting
because I'm negligent about looking at that opposite sign number sometimes, but in reality, if you have if you have an opposite and a standard master number within a sign, I feel like that's powerful energy, and it did give me insight into myself, and I kind of knew the way I'm able to navigate relationships and things like that. Like,
yeah,
it gave me a lot of insight into that. So
I think that's so
Libra,
interesting,
we're both receiving some insights about ourselves with like the same, you look at the same painting forever.
Yes.
And then you see something different one day, or you listen to the same song, and like one day you hear something you never heard before.
And reading books. How many times have you and I reread things like, the Tao or you know what I'm saying? The Bible, like, come on. So I was so surprised to have that. Like, okay, now I have another because you're just like the resident astrology, student extraordinaire. Okay.
And deep bow to Tom Parsons, since you brought him up. Like, he's probably my biggest guru and influence astrologically in my life.
Tom and I are going to make a joint appearance on Astromingle next Friday night, bro.
Right.
On the 17th.
That's great. Killer.
To try to talk about some of the aha moments that the non-astrologer has had with really capable people. But I wanted to ask you, bro, because you are a really capable person in this department. And I don't want to sound like the blonde out of the bottle, question 36,215. But the first house, so when I was looking at my chart, right? So my first house it's Gemini, right? Is in my first. That's the master Gemini number that I have in my first. And
and you are 11 degree Gemini rising?
I am an 8th degree.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, 9. Aries rule. My 8 is my Libra. 9.
Yeah.
9. I was pondering the relationship between your first house and your ascendant. And is one of them like kind of how you perceive yourself and then how the world does? Like, could you speak to that?
Well, I mean, classically, the ascendant would be, in layman's terms, described as how you are perceived.
Perceived. So perceived by the world.
Perceived and possibly received too.
Could also be how you present and how you received.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the first house, though, is like your identity.
Right. And that's where, to me, like, way I like to think of this.
Like your chi?
It's like because, we have, with the step system, you do have a little bit more of a, acute sensitivity with your sun sign because there's a degree and an extreme nuance attached to it by that. But the ascendant, I really think, is the ultra fine print, so to speak, of our celestial snowflake when you add that to your sun sign, because that is something that moves and changes super quickly, right? So it's like it's really like that. That's the point. And I feel like when we're in our galactic self getting the ticket to come here in the contract, like where the ascendant we choose is like really like the ding, like the thread, the needle part that is really like super unique to us. So it's the perfect accent of the dish you're making, or it's like the high note of the song or whatever. It's like it's a really the special small brushstroke that really makes you super unique and like at just expands and compounds the rest of the situation, right? Because it also does exemplify where our houses are going to fall too. So like it's got not only that, it's like how we're perceived, but it's like it decides where everything else falls into place. And that
kind of like is the leader, like it's
meaning.
follow the leader, right? Like
Right.
everything has to like line up from there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And unless you are a rare bird that your ascendant is at 0 degrees,
right?
Then that sign that your ascendant falls in, the sign itself actually straddles the 12th and first house.
And first.
So you're dealing with a part of that when that time of the year comes around. You're dealing with a part of that where it's in your 12th is like the deepest mystical, karmic, all of that aspect, part of your essence. And then boom, you get the other half right into that first, which is like your inside out, how you're perceived, how you present, like your me-go, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's a pretty big placement, you know.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah, it's pretty significant.
I thought that I had more of a handle on this, and I was like, whew, this could like be a little bumpy conversation with all of these insights. But this is what I also want to say to our friends out there is like sometimes I felt really intimidated because of Scott's fluency and competency because he's a great mathematician, right? Wait, I got to take a sip, bro.
Take a sip.
A little peek. Did you know that? But what I encourage people to bring is their heart and their intuition to their chart to look for patterns and not to worry about the specificity sometimes and am I getting it right? Because it does feel like math to a lot of people out there. And I'm not afraid of math, but I know a lot of people are. And for somebody who's not even afraid of math, it can sometimes be intimidating.
Yeah, I'd say like think of it as music. I love Pam Gregory's
Pam
doing that because as a mathematician and musician, like music is math, like math is music. So it's like it's math is like a part of how it works, like how it can be harmonious and how it can have resonance and things. But think of it more as music because, like Pam says, then it's a sheet of music and it can be performed or interpreted in infinite number of ways, right? We've heard classical pieces or even songs by our not so beloved Beatles interpreted 1,000 ways. Like, you know, so I couldn't pass that dig up. But
one of the things.
So it just you interpret as you wish. We are all the artists of our own composition, right? So like we were the one that chose that piece of music anyway. So like we can interpret and perform it at our own will and whim as the days go.
As the days go. And with that, bro, you need to go make some important music. And one of the things that I think that we need to leave everybody with is that like your light and the level of light that you're bringing to you, to who you are, to your everyday life is the most important thing that you can do for you so you can receive the actual beauty, the love, the joy, and guess what? Some of the the puch, the not so great, you need to be able to receive all of you and in the light of the fullness of you, which is light and dark, and love it all. And love your sheet of music. because it's going to play no matter what. The music's got to play. And you got to go play music, bro.
Totally. And light, all forms of light on those scales. Let it all breathe and illuminate and
Amen.
in that equatorial balance.
And on that, peace be with us all.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much for listening. Love, light, blessings, and just absolute joy to each and every one of you. Thank you for listening.
Peace. Happy Libra season.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.